What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Spartan podcast. On today's episode, we're talking about the effects of ego on business. The good, the bad, the ugly.
That's it, guys. How are we doing? Welcome back. And yeah, a fairly short one today, but we just wanted to touch on this topic of ego and then probably dive into it deeper on a longer one because there's a lot we can talk about on this. But yeah, we just wanted to briefly touch on it so you guys can get an insight into how we operate and think about this kind of topic. So yeah, ego is a lot to discuss here, but I think one of the main things I see is a lot of people have got such a huge ego these days when they've actually done nothing, absolutely fuck all to deserve that. And it really gets to their heads. And you can tell these type of individuals from a mile away, like always shouting and trying to like puff their chest out, right? And just make themselves look big and fucking angry and scary. And it's like, bro, you've not actually done anything. Like, chill.
No, I 100% agree. And we see it on social media every day, you know, be it on Instagram, the fake flexers on Instagram, the fake flexers on Twitter. You know, we know who you are.
Yeah, and you know who you are.
And you know who you are. More importantly, you know who you are. And it's bad. Change up. Come on. Change up.
Yeah, you can change it. You can change it.
You can. 100%. And once you do, understand that you have to separate ego from business. You'll love yourself a lot more for it. And you'll become a lot more successful in business and whatever enterprise you choose to pursue for it. Just separate the ego from the goal and the objective. Separate. Be real about it. Okay? Your goal or objective doesn't give a shit about what you feel in your heart about it in terms of negative feelings or in terms of neediness or in terms of how much I want this right now. You know, your ego, like that's all ego, you know? The goal and the objective doesn't know anything that's going on in this world over here where your wants are and your like bullshit, like weird opinions of how the world should be are or how you view yourself. The goals and objectives don't care. All they care about, your goals and objectives, all they care about is whether you execute every single day and you do exactly as you say that you will do. You make a plan and you stick to it and you fucking grind it out and you make sure your team is motivated and you make sure you're motivated every single morning. Because if you're a leader, it's your job to motivate your team. It's your job to make sure your team is there. And it's your job to make sure your ego is separated from the goal and the objective.
100%, man. Completely agree. Like, and I'll be honest, I ran into this myself. Like when I started off in business and made my first bit of, I guess you'd call it real money. Like it's not like loads now, but in comparison to what I was making from my old job, when I kind of hit that, I was like, oh shit. And my ego got massively fucking inflated because of it. And it took me like the best part of 6 months to kind of calm down from that and actually separate it. And it's going to be a thing that you will go through because you have to experience it and get rid of it. Like you have to just go through it. There's no other way except going through it and actually learning how to separate it. Some of it might be quicker, but it's going to be something you go through, like because you get that injection of cash. You're fucking 20 years old and you're going to fuck something up. Like something will go wrong because you have like, well, this big ego, right? You're way too ahead of yourself and you think you're the fucking man, you think you're the boss, and everything just fucking collapses. So you got to be, I was going to say you got to be careful with it, but you know what? Don't be careful with it. Go full steam and learn from your mistakes. Go ahead and fuck everything up. That's what I want you to do. And then you'll be much better because of it. Don't be careful at all. Just do it, enjoy it, ride it, and then fix it.
Literally. As Jack said, just literally ignore everything else that's going on and just go full steam ahead. Now, this is where we talk about the positive aspects of ego. Some ego is very healthy and it is positive, especially as, for an example, as a young man, you know, you got to have ego to really push yourself forward. You got to have some arrogance in knowing that you will be successful no matter what. no matter what the heck anyone tells you, you know in your heart you will be successful. So that's the positive side of having some ego. That's the positive side of having some arrogance, because 99% of businesses fail. You have to be arrogant and you have to be egotistical on some level, you know, in a healthy manner to succeed, period.
100%, because there's two sides to it. Like what Kazi's saying, it doesn't mean be an absolute arsehole, like someone that's just impossible to get along with in any kind of way. But you do have to have these core beliefs and, like you said, a bit of arrogance and maybe a slight bit of cockiness just to get you to that level. But if you get in too deep and you get way too ahead of yourself, like I did, like you'll fuck up, and it probably will happen.
100%. If you're new to business, you're 100% going to fuck up. And that's part of the process. You're supposed to fuck up. And you're supposed to feel these different range of emotions, from ego, from arrogance, to pain, to hunger. You know, you're supposed to feel these things. You're supposed to experience this range of emotions, this spectrum of emotions, to come out the other side a much more developed business person, with a much more developed business acumen and sense of the world itself and what the world needs and wants from you, and how you can give that to the world. Because the world does not need or want your bullshit ego and your scarcity mentality. The world wants and needs your love, your abundance, your high value energy, your clean energy. And on that note, if you want to learn more about how you can harness that, well, Jack and I, we have a little something called Spartan Closers. And in Spartan Closers, we teach you just that, how to harness that energy to create fat stacks. All right? All right. So talk to you guys in a bit. Sign up for our email list down below. Subscribe. Smash that like button. And let's see you on the next episode, my people. Let's go, Spartans! Hoorah!